Welcome back to Convivial Conservation Around the Globe. I'm your host, Eliana, and in this episode, we're heading to Rustavi, Georgia, to explore a fascinating project called Napirze. This initiative is transforming an abandoned floodplain and reimagining how people connect with their environment, which I think is a very convivial project. Joining me today are the two founders of this project, Data and Deme, and with them we'll first get to know Napirze better, from its origins to how the project is evolving today. And then we'll explore the synergies between their work and the principles of convivial conservation. So Deme and Data, thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you both?
Amazing. I'm personally great, and I saw that recently, and he looked great as well, so we're fine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to dig into the project and hear about the story of Napirze straight from you, which you've been there since day one. So to kick things off, I would like you to tell me a bit more about Napirze, from its origins, how it gets started and how's it going now. I heard it all started with destroying a garage. Can you tell me more about this?
I always wanted to destroy that garage because it was located in my family's yard. It was like an old garage, useless, and I was always thinking, like, how can it be changed or transformed in something different? So we were just sitting at the garden, and it was me, them, and a couple of our friends, and just, hot summer days in Rustavi, it's not the most pleasant place to be. So we were just like brainstorming, like, what should we do? And yeah, at the same time, we were always thinking about this place, the floodplain, and that we need to somehow fix it, because from our early childhood, somehow we were like perceiving it as our responsibility to take care of that place. So we just took hammers and all the tools we could use, and we just transformed it into a nursery, basically. And we started to collect some seeds from local parks, bring them to the nursery, and basically grow those trees and just give it away for free to local citizens and everybody who came by, basically. So
basically, it started very organically. We just wanted to we only had this idea to destroy it, but we never had idea what we're gonna do there, because Data didn't want to go and just tell to his family that, okay, I don't like this garage and we're gonna destroy it. But after there was a pass, the vision that we were okay, there is something that we can do instead. So eventually it led us to destroy the garage, which made us very happy. And eventually we destroyed all the all the concrete in the yard, and we transformed the place into a social space and the headquarters for Napirze. You can't say that it's directly started from there, but when someone asks how the project started, we just say that it started by destroying the garage, because that was the thing that we had to do, so it then show us the way where could we go from there.
Yeah, I think it's a great starting point. Destroy something to make it better. And then you now today it's Napirze. It started from the garage, but now it's a big project. So can you tell me more about it?
So as Data mentioned, there were a few of us in Rustavi that realized that this floodplain forest around the Mtwara River was basically not only not existent, but also very neglected. So it's just some place which, if you go out in the city and ask people, everyone would say that no one wants to go there, basically. So it was not only the place that got destroyed ecologically, but also the way that it was neglected by the citizens. And for you to understand, really, it's really in the middle of the city. There is no citizen in our city who has not passed that place. So we just started thinking about it in the way that, okay, there are so many people passing it every day. Everyone knows that this place exists there, but no one actually goes there. And what is the reason? We destroyed this place and then we neglect it and polluted it, and it's drying out, it's dying out. Why is it happening, So we were like actively thinking about it for several years probably, but we never really started like actively working on it because our vision was more like, well, yeah, we have this idea that place is destroyed, and then we checked like the aerial images, which really showed that forest was not there anymore. And eventually we went there and we saw that like forest is gone, and this really happened in our lifetime. So we actually started like thinking in the way that what can we actually do, because the thinking part did not really last. I mean, it can last, but it doesn't change anything. And
definitely.
that was the thing that kind of clicked one day, and we had to take action. And Data found a way for like taking the legal form to like start like tackling the problem, and then eventually like it just snowballed real fast.
But also, I would like to add, the name of the project itself was really something that we struggled a lot, because for us it was not just about planting trees. It was about like, it has much deeper roots, because we were discussing not only the part where like our parents' generation destroyed this area because of us, basically, because they needed something to get us warm, right, during those winters. So yeah, that was the reason, but that was not the whole point of our like drive. There is also much deeper footprint in our like past generations, that not only in Georgia, but basically all over the world, that all the settlements, all the cities, villages are like close to the river or water bodies, right? Because rivers used to bring everything. What we saw also, and that was, for me personally, that was the biggest drive, that after I guess industrial revolution, or I don't know, like middle of 20th century, somewhere like that. Despite that, even in case of Rustavi, the river played a crucial role, because when they choose the place to like rebuild the city in 1944, somewhere like that, they chose this place specifically because they wanted to use the river resources in terms of like the industry. But despite that, nowadays that connection is lost. Not only industrial connection, but like mental connection to the water bodies and etc. So we were looking for a name that could emphasize that it's not about only, like it would say that it's not about only planting trees, but it's also, we wanted to bring people's minds to the near to the river, and that's why we chose this name Napirze to heal this connection between humans and the river. So that's like our main foundation, I can say.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you explained it really well, and you were mentioning how the industry was dependent on the water bodies once, for actually for the work, but now they don't really use it anymore. So yeah, many of these water bodies get abandoned, and so really makes sense why and how you developed your project, and also the name you chose. So thank you so much for sharing your insights on this. It's clear that at the heart of your project is a deep care, not only for the land, as Data and also Deme added, were saying, but also deep care for the community. And I really think that your work aligns really well with convivial conservation, which, it's based on mainly two principles, which is, moving away from this separation of nature and people, but also a sense of, moving away from this economy-based types of conservation, types of, ecological restorations, and, try new ways of rethink the economy, make it more, redistribute the wealth in a more equal and just way. So, I think Napirze really showcases some of convivial conservation principles really well. And that's actually at the base of my next question, which will be, understanding, in your opinion, kind of synergies between Convivial Conservation and Napirze, the project?
First of all, like when we met with Bram and we had these conversations with different people, like we have not, there are like some concepts that we don't really realize that we are doing until there's like someone who has question, or like, we have something like some reference to compare,
conversations,
etc. Yeah. So for me, like the convivial conservation kind of talks about living in a way that supports both people and the nature, and that's like that's something very close to what Napirze is about. Like if I really think about it, so it's not like for us, it's not that conservation is not like necessarily fencing nature off or leaving it untouched, or like it's more about recognizing that humans are part of the ecosystem as well. So like we play the crucial role, negative or positive, whatever, but we play the role. Like we either destroy it or we have the power to like restore it. And in our case, like specific to our case, like Napirze, is that we have to reconnect back people who are part of this ecosystem to this ecosystem, because they don't have the understanding. Like people don't think in the way that like they don't think about the river as a living being, they just think about the river, which is like water in the middle of the city, and you need a bridge to just cross it, like nothing else, like
it's there.
It's there, and wherever, like we don't ask where is your gray water going, we don't ask why no one swims in this river anymore. People would just say that, okay, that river is like dirty, and no one would really ask like why is it dirty, what can we do to like make it clean. This is like one example, like not the full spectrum of the thing that I'm saying, but like one example that the nature and the people, they mean the same thing. At the same time, like Napirze is also challenges some ideas because we're not like working with like large resources or like huge institutions or something. It's just something that started, like few friends started in the city, and it eventually developed in this what it is right now. So we didn't start it like from top and came down all the way here. We just like started like to the very bottom with basically nothing, just the idea that when we were like when we talk about like people and the nature and reconceptualizing the ideas of like reconnecting back, so people just like realize, and they have like tiny bit of more awareness that this river is actually a living being, and this forest that used to be there, it's a living being, the same way that you live, that forest also lives, something like that. And I think like this, that's where convivial conservation and Napirze talk about the same way, like supporting both people and nature.
I would add some specifics. I can say that before we met with Bram, we had like a pretty long journey with lots of different aha moments, and then we after some time we realized that, oh no, it's not working, because or it's not aligned with how we understand and how we see things. One of those things is carbon sequestration and to like use carbon credits, etc. And when first we read about carbon credits, we thought that, oh, this is such an amazing tool and we can actually use it. But then when we went to deeper understanding and when we discussed deeper details, we saw that no, this is not like suitable for us. And then we came like we encountered, like we had this meeting with Brown, and that was one of the things. And you can also clearly see and read it in Convivial Manifesto as well. But there is also one thing me and Deme was where we're discussing that topic. I don't remember the exact number from the manifesto, but it basically describes what type of relationship convivial conservation should have with local communities and indigenous people. As we understand and as we see ourselves, we are not dealing here with indigenous people. We don't have that term here in Georgia because basically we don't have indigenous people here. Maybe we are indigenous people, but you know, and it's mostly the way it's put there, like in the manifesto. It shows us mostly the Western understanding of like less developed countries. Of course, we are not saying that Georgia is like a first world country or something, but it's like focuses on much less developed countries. And also the other thing was, and we really would like to like discuss it in much details. Other thing is that Convivial Conservation says we would like to like empower legal voices of local communities, and in our case, we don't see it as like we need help inside of the country in terms of like legal things and like politics and stuff, because we believe that we have enough power to accomplish what we really want, you know. But another point is if organizations and like partners like us, for example, in the future have to deal with like outside players or politics, or I don't know. Like, that's where I think maybe the convivial conservation help can be really helpful.
No, definitely. I mean, I think for your project, Napirze, really connects well with the meanings of commoning and like sharing places between people in nature, but of course having a local autonomy, but of course some points might not resonate so well, which I think it's completely fair. But I completely agree with you that like Convivial Center can be some sort of networking organization that can like help connecting all these different local realities, let's say, for bringing in some external some external actors, let's say. I was wondering if, throughout the process, you encountered any challenges, either social or political, and how have you dealt with them, or how you're dealing with them now?
Yeah, of course. That's our favorite part.
Really?
We can speak a lot about this.
Challenges. Yeah, it's been pretty challenging for the last couple of years, but like we had a meeting several days ago in local municipality, and even they were mentioning that we don't understand how you guys still out there and still in the game. So it's I don't know, like it's nature of I think our individual essence, I believe. And also this thing we are like trying to fix is so rewarding itself. Because no matter what's happening around you, how hard it is, of course there's been pretty hard emotional setbacks for the last couple of years, but still somehow we managed to get back and like still go for it. So I think it balances, like there is like two sides, like the thing itself we are like trying to achieve and fix, and also somehow the local, this city made us as we are, and so it just like pushes us constantly to no matter what's happening, just go for it.
But I can add well, we can add more like to the challenges, because of course it has not been easy. Nothing is easy, like especially this thing is
it's a more radical
like,
project.
Also we don't say that it was hard. Also, like we don't really see it as like as the challenge in the moment. When we reflect on it after some time, then we would say that 1 month ago we were in that state. That was not good, But like in that time, if you would ask me, I would say like, okay, I'm surviving. I have like
it's
power
part of the
to
process.
go for it. So we got like to the point that I think we realized where we were standing, and we started like strategizing the whole plan that we had. Everything looked very fine. It looked like perfect, like the clockwork, like you just have to put a battery and then everything works, and it looked like that, and then it got destroyed in one day. Like just it was like the table flip situation, it's just like everything that we worked on is not viable anymore. So in the moment where it was like very challenging for us, that me and Data, we would just like sit and talk about like if we are continuing this, first question, and then if yes, like how exactly we're continuing this, because all the strategies that we created and we were relied on, it's not there anymore. So like what do we actually do? At the end of every conversation that we had, we would be like, okay, the thing that we want to do, we started doing it because no one else was doing that. So if we stop doing it, no one else would continue doing it, So we just like found that like kind of sweet spot for us to keep pushing until we can, and we're still in that mode. Like we often say that it doesn't matter if the trees are planted by me or by you or by government or by, I don't know, aliens. It doesn't matter who would plant the trees. There is like a result that we are aiming for, that we need this ecosystem back because of the functionality, because of the benefit, because of this, that all the good things that it brings. So if I stop doing that because I don't wanna, let's say, help like a government, or I don't wanna like, I can see that things are turning political, and I don't wanna like participate in this anymore because like I was like it was never my intention. So I just like realized that it can stay as this, like it can be not my intention, but I can still like feed my intentions, which is like reforesting this area.
And you overcame already challenges, so you have the capability to probably overcome future ones. Hopefully there will not be as many, but you've done it once, you can do it again. But talking about this, with all these challenges, but Napirze has been a project that is developing. Actually, my next question would be about what you saw, what kind of changes you saw, both speaking about ecological changes, but also social changes. Have you seen a switch in our communities think about ecological restoration?
Yeah, there's been several facets of the change. One, of course, we see the change in the people. Mostly those people are young generations, because when we actually went there and started to do things like trail cleaning, planting, etc., there's been a lot of things to do there, and those people were mostly people, our friends, people from the schools we went as kids, people from our universities, or just like youth organizations. So mostly the most visible change is in like a certain age group, which is I believe under 30 or 32 or maybe even 36. Yeah. So, but in the process, we saw something like on the parallel line, also the Ministry of Environment was working on the floodplain restoration strategy. And and they like divided it into two parts. Because the floodplain is on the both banks of the river. First, they did the right bank document, and then they did for the left bank. And we read both of them, of course. And when we read the first document, which was about the right, it was not a standard. We would say that, okay, this sounds really great, and this sounds like a lot of work. And also, of course, we shared our thoughts with the authors of the project and like all the people who participated in that. And because of that, when they did the second part of the document, which was about the left bank, and we read it also, we saw a huge change, even from the Ministry of Environment and the people who most of their lives are working in that department, but because because our people and we were so involved in the process that just that involvement changed the approach from the Ministry of Environment to the strategies and how they are writing the strategies, how detailed it is. So we step by step we are facing these types of changes in like people's minds, in like state departments, in local government, because we said something like Deme said it belongs to Deme. Deme says that we are like local bar raisers because we
nice.
we kind of
Like it.
We raised the standard, how things should be done, and that's and I think that's beautiful. I think
for me, like for the same, I will just add a few words on this. That when they actually prepared this document, and me and Data, we read it, and we were like, this is like really not professional document. So when we actually spoke with them, I don't know if they realized that we didn't like only mention things, we just like mentioned the details, so they understood that we actually read that. We just like showed them that like there is a group of people who are more interested into these things than like by default people would be interested, because that's the thing, that's the shift, the biggest shift that I wanted to say, that biggest change that I can mention is the shift in the people's attitude, basically, towards us, towards the project, towards understanding the whole thing. Because when we first went there was like they look at you by default, they look at you as a different person, like you're there for profit, or you're there for like some kind of financial or like some kind of benefits. So like you kind of have to prove that you're actually there to do something, because it's hard to convince those people. And what we saw in very first like months with the communicating with the municipalities, like rangers, communicating with the people who are like common people, they're not like ministers or something, they're just like common people. So what we saw there, the shift in the attitude, was the biggest change that I can kind of evaluate. So yeah, this is something that I wanted to mention, that there was like as I said, this place was like completely neglected, like no one wanted to go there. And often when I even talk to my family members and I tell them that okay, I go to the floodplain, people would say that okay, look, what are you gonna do there? It's like full of snakes or full of like swamps or like I don't know, dragons living there or whatever. Like they're like some myths. So once you actually take those people there and they see that like snake not gonna eat you, and it's actually not full of swamps, like it's full of other parts of the nature, like there are like shrubs and little forests and the trees, and there are like different kinds of ecosystem. There is a channel with its life. We have like over 130 species of birds that like most of them are very beautiful, and you have no idea that they live in the city next to you. And like like there's some things that people, once they open these doors and they know that this door exists there, then they can like come back to it and like use it on their own. But first you need to like show them this door and like open it for them and welcome them. And after that we've seen like the first like few people talk about this place and the possibilities, and then we've seen like kind of whole families join the tree plantings. Like young people are kind of organizing their own initiative around it, like even the city officials starting to take a notice that okay, this is actually something there, like there can be like something is happening. So there is like kind of we kind of take the spotlight. And once the spotlight is there, like we know that it's still very long way to go, but we would like to see this like smaller steps towards just creating the stronger culture around the place. And that's the biggest like changes that we've seen during this like 2 years.
Definitely. I believe, like changing people attitudes is like one of the hardest thing. Like, actually changing their attitudes and perspectives by bringing them there on site, seeing that, it's not what they think. I think it's already a huge step. and the biggest change. So as you were saying, so also because it's a collaborative work, is like cooperations between people. You need the people to actually make a change just generally. So, and I think this is also what connects well with Convivial, like bringing people together, and people and nature together, but also people and people together, which is always a challenge. So yeah.
On the field, you discovered that it's way easier to work with the soil than work with someone that food. Like it's a way easier. Like, but it's part of the process, and something that you guys do. Like, it also like mostly involves the part where you have to just implement the idea that, okay, there is like this idea that this part and this part, whether it's nature and people, or people or people, or nature and nature, or anything, these can be connected in the way that maybe you don't see, but there is a way. So if you kind of trust me on the process, or trust the process, not me, then eventually you see how it's all getting connected and how it can work out in a way that no one thought before even. Like sometimes you have some references, but sometimes you have to do something that has no reference or history. Like
exactly,
you have to prove something that comes out of nowhere, and once you get there as a community, or as a institution or anything, then that's when you like have this feeling that you created something that was like not there, and now it's very important that it's created.
It's very insightful, it's very inspirational for whoever come across your project. You kind of mentioned some future plans, which is my next question actually. What are the future plans for you guys, for Napirze? What's in store? What's the spoilers?
Shortly, there is like a bigger picture, and then there is a smaller picture, which by itself is big, but not as big as that first bigger picture. Yeah. But so to speak about this smaller one is that we want to restore the area, which includes restoring the land, and also to rehabilitate the river, which is the most polluted river in Georgia. But the problem is Mtkwari River, or Kura River, is for the audience too, so it can be like much easier to look for it. Mtkwari River gets most of its pollution after it passes the capital of Georgia, which and Rustavi and Tbilisi are quite near to each other. So Mtkwari passes Tbilisi first, then comes to Rustavi, then goes to the direction of Azerbaijan, which is our neighbor country. And that's the section of the river where Mtkwari gets its most pollution. So we are kind of at the end of it. After that, it just leaves our borders and it goes to our neighbor country. So because it passes Rustavi, and because Rustavi has like unique possibility, because in Tbilisi there are no more floodplains, because it was just destroyed for the roads. And Rustavi has unique possibility because the floodplain as an area is still there, so we can restore it and make a huge example of how it can be done. And by that we want to use it as a leverage against the polluters. And when I say polluters, this is not like big industries or something. It's just like small car washes, just illegally connected sewage waters, etc. It's really complex. So we are aiming to create enough dynamic just by hyping up the place, planting trees, like doing much more visible activities, so it can be used as a leverage to like ask local municipality as well as Ministry of Environment. So we did this, and why don't you come and help us to like achieve much bigger to like face much bigger challenges. So long story short, like much nearer like goals are to restore the area, clean the area, I mean the land, and also to fix the or at least decrease the pollution of the river itself. Because our if you will see our like a logo, and if you will go to our website, you will see the otter, which is our like a symbol of our project. And it's not by accident, of course, because in Quarry there still are some families of otters, but they are absent in Rustavi's section. So we want to clean the river, we want to rehabilitate the area, and to get it into such condition where we will see and like document the return of otters. You know, when we see it, where it's gonna be official that this was successful, and then we can move on. And then after that point, we are going to that bigger picture, which is to continue to rehabilitate the whole Quarry River, which includes also not and to work on that not only in Georgia, but to continue our work to our neighboring countries. And that's the bigger picture. It's more in the future, but I think that as Deme mentioned previously, when we were starting this project, we were assuming that some of the parts which we already achieved and like fixed, we were like assuming that it's gonna take us at least like 3-4 years, but it happened in 1 year. So nobody knows actually when it's
change is
gonna happen, but
unpredictable.
yeah.
That's the thing that like for the future, like the urgent task would be to like secure the area's survival. But what Data said, like people sometimes would ask us that like, are you planning to like reintroduce otters? No, we are not. We are not planning to reintroduce otters. We are planning to attract otters, and it's totally different things. You know, we just want them to come back as an indicator that what we've done is actually doing something on the ecological, on the food chain level, you know, like the biological chain level. That we don't want to like take otters and like put them there and it's like, okay, now
capture
you live there,
them.
I don't care, just you're gonna stay
You
there.
live here,
now you live here,
So no, we know that like otters are upstream of the river and downstream, downside of the river, like they exist, like they live, but we want them to come back to the city. So for the very current situation, like the today situation is that, as I said, we need to like concentrate. Like very urgent task that we have is to secure the survival of the forest and secure the survival of the work that we did with the volunteers and the friends and like with the community. And that means like the fixing the water system, like planting more trees, like basically creating more sustainable model which would allow us to work for upcoming years. We don't want to be like limited in terms of like funds. We just want to like create some model which would be like effective for next years to come, because we also got in trouble, like relied too much on the grant, and now that is finished, and like we are out of like we kind of like got disoriented by okay, what are we doing now? So like something that we can also mention here is that we are starting the GoFundMe campaign, where like we can more or less like create the self-sustainable model that we have. Like we have the group of volunteers, we have like basically the whole community, which is like getting bigger and bigger, who would like to get involved. But also we want to create like some kind of working group which would maintain what we have already achieved there. Because one thing is, as we mentioned previously, like planting trees is like flashy and it sounds good, like you planted trees, but there's like 3 requirements for planting trees. There is like a lot of, most of the work is like preparing the site to plant the trees, and then we get confident into planting trees, and from 500 we go to 1,000, and from 1,000 we go to 2,000. You know, we're just like doubling every time. But then you look back and you have like 4,000 trees to take care of, and if you want to maintain planting, them, if you have to like if you're planning to increase the number of the trees that you plant, you absolutely need to maintain them. So that's why like we for now we are like focused on this, like the work wise, to give you like very recent and very updated things as well of what we do. Like before this podcast we were doing that basically.
Right.
So this is like very recent, very like raw thing that we are concentrated on.
It's great because it's very practical what you're doing, and this GoFundMe that you will start. Please let us know all the infos on where to find everything. So my last question that I think connects well with where to find more infos is if you have any recommendations, maybe a book that dive deep into the work of Napirze.
So there is something, well, we don't really call it like a book. It's something like a booklet, like a small version of the book that we eventually gonna publish. So we have our friend, like part of our team, Maggie Brand, who has been working with us for past 10 months. And she's from US, and she's basically a big part of our project. She's doing like our visual part, like designing the landscape, defining where the trees should be planted, where the paths should go, like the pathways, etc., etc. So while Maggie was working on these aspects, she gathered a lot of content that we eventually wanted to turn to a book. So right now we have a small book, and actually on the background of Data you can see the poster where
amazing. Okay,
there is like where you can see the book that we want to publish in future. It's gonna cover like the ancient times, because the city was there even in the Bronze era. So like ancient times, and eventually going to the modern time and going to the floodplain, including like all the methodologies and the things that we use to start working and like to accomplish something there. So we have this small version of the book where we try to describe what we did in the past 2 years, how we planted, what kinds of trees we planted, what methodologies we chose. So it's like a small guidebook, basically. So if someone else wants to,
it's kind of user's manual of how to plant trees, basically.
Right.
But we don't really have like one book that would like guide you through the process.
Everything.
And that's our intention, basically, to create a path for someone else. Because for us, like we started from very zero, like every information that we try to find out about the place that we're working on, it's very hard, and there is like nothing basically. And the people who are responsible for having answers, they don't have these answers. So we just want to create like this replicable model that can apply to any scenario, basically. So if you want to do the same thing in your country, you're gonna have to plant different types of trees, but like we're gonna give you like the understanding that this is the thing.
I can suggest two books kind of close to what we are doing. One is the book, it was done by UNESCO. Sadly, I don't know the exact author, but it's called River Culture.
Okay.
And it's quite like a complex book. And if anybody has time to go through that, they can look it up. And another one is a book by Robert Fletcher. It's called Sailing Forward. And I would suggest these two books if anybody is wondering to like get a better understanding of how we see things, and also how Convivial Conservation sees.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it. That's the last question. So that is the end of the episode. So I want just to sum it up and thank you all so much for coming here, being here, and sharing your reflections and your project, which I find it really inspiring. And I really believe that it's very close to a real example of what Convivial Conservation Project can look like. Thank you so much for sharing all your informations, all the news. I really wish you all the best. Best of luck with the next chapters. I'm super excited to, check out more the project, and maybe in 1 year's time we'll do a part 2 of the podcast with some updates.
Gladly.
But thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for having the word. We're really glad that this happened, and we're really glad that we met Brian. We eventually ended up like having this relationship with you, and yeah, I'm really glad to be part of this, and thank you for inviting us for the podcast.
Thanks a lot, because it feels great, first of all, to share all this information with like-minded people and like-minded human as you are. And yeah, I really do. I'm really looking forward for part 2